Hey Comic Impact fans, Rick Hansen here, Smash Hansen as some of you might know, and your writer for Comics and Coffee, the weekly column about Bronze Age comic books every Monday on ComicImpact.com. I'm here to bring you the Smash of the Month, talking about the best darn thing in comics for all of November 2013. What I got is something special this week, this month, but we also have some other good comics that came out over the month of November. There was Amazing X-Men from Marvel Comics by Jason Aaron and Ed McGuinness. If you weren't into the big events that were going on, you're going to be pleasantly surprised by what comes out of that page. Howard Chaykin continues to knock it out of the park, even though he's not reinventing the wheel, if I may mix my metaphors, with Buck Rogers over from Hermes Press Publishing. And then in the Mignolaverse, Sledgehammer 44 comes out with number one issue of Lightning War, and Mignola and John Arcudi and Lawrence Campbell have once again captured lightning in a bottle, pun intended, and they are definitely keeping in line with the theme of the last of the Sledgehammer 44. So check that out. But the best darn thing to happen in comics for all of November 2013 is from Image Comics, Manifest Destiny #1. It's written by Chris Dingus, penciled and inked by Matthew Roberts, colored by Owen Gianni, and lettered by Pat Brousseau. Now, nobody could blame you for not being familiar with Dingus and Roberts. This may indeed be Dingus's very first venture into comics. He has a strong television background. He's got writing credits on Sci-Fi's Being Human, also shows like Medium, Ed, Now and Again, and The Bedford Diaries. Roberts is nearly as obscure. He does have some comic work, though. It consists of a couple issues of Robert Kirkman's Battle Pope, an anthology called Four-Letter Worlds, and an inking credits on an issue of Spectacular Spider-Man's Super Special in the War of the Symbiotes back, I believe, in the 90s. Now, Manifest Destiny #1 is distributed through Kirkman's Skybound imprint, which is a division of Marvel Comics dedicated to picking up-and-coming creators and making properties with multimedia application potential. So these are things that they think might make good movies or TV shows or something else. So don't be surprised if you see Manifest Destiny being shopped around to HBO, AMC, or other places too. This is a work of historical fiction, which is kind of hard to do. It's retelling history with taking creative liberties. What you got here is President Thomas Jefferson sending Lewis and Clark to secretly lead a crew of soldiers, convicts, and mercenaries with the mission of hunting monsters in preparation of U.S. westward expansion. So everybody's familiar with Lewis and Clark, but news to me that they're out hunting monsters. You get a good feel for the characters in this book pretty straight off the bat. Lewis is more of the science nerd. He gets really excited about the wildlife and natural world throughout their travels, while Clark is a bit more butch. He's handy with a gun and he's a die-hard explorer. And as with most premiere issues, this one consists mostly of setup and character introduction. But you get a fascinating portrayal in the meanwhile of Lewis's travel diary during their travels, and it's interesting that he has a classified journal and then one for the congressional records. So one that goes for the history books and one for the president regarding their secret mission, both of them with different entries. Things for the crew are relatively boring until they come across an arch 50 stories high made of strange foliage, and so they take their ship that they've been traveling down the river, park it, and everybody gets out and examines it or takes a break. They examine a flower growing on it, and it looks eerily like a skull face, so you get kind of a creepy sense of foreboding. And it turns out that all of these people, these mercenaries and soldiers and such, and convicts, have one thing in common. They all don't have families, so they won't be missed if they don't come back from this mission. Now that leads to tension, and the tension leads to confrontation and deadly treachery. But things get really interesting in a hurry when a rampaging beast that has 4 hooves, 2 arms, a buffalo head, and it's armed with a tomahawk comes stampeding into their makeshift camp. And things just, from there. But if this is what they have in store for future issues, then I'm hooked, and it's going to be definitely a wild ride. Dingus is not new to being a comic fan, even if he's new to writing comics. He blames his parents for letting him go down this path of weirdness, and grew up reading Swamp Thing and Tomb of Dracula, Ghost Rider, Conan, Shang-Chi, and like me, he started off by reading The Incredible Hulk, going toe-to-toe with the UFOs. So I'm thinking that this guy is probably about my age. The rest he blames on Robert Kirkman and Skybound for inspiring this particular story. Overall, there's a whole lot of potential here, and it really piques my interest, making me eager to read the next part, which is really my benchmark for a good comic book, because it makes me want to read more. Hopefully, it'll be Lengthy Adventures of Lewis and Clark in a Fantastical Frontier. It takes a strong and clever team of skillful storytellers to pull off a historical fiction. It's not easy. Jenny's colors are perfectly suited to the age, emphasizing the gentle tones of the wilderness, and Brousseau comes across with his lettering as very authentic for the handwritten diary by Lewis. So when you see that, it really looks like, you know, somebody's been handwriting. And finally, Robert's art is very polished, far beyond his resume. The characters are all distinct and consistent, and his line work is a mixture of cartoonish expressions and highly detailed clothes, equipment, and wildlife. Very breathtaking landscapes. I see in his work a mixture of Richard Delgado and Chris Burnham. But you look at it, you'll probably see some inspirations from other places. So I am far from the only one who's noticed this title. I've heard plenty of people, you know, whispering and you know, and just, you know, talking about how good it is. So I suggest you grab a copy of it, issue #1, and enjoy it from cover to cover before more come out, and you then have no idea what everybody else has been talking about. So we can thank Dingus' parents for making him the writer who put this smash of the month together. Until next time, Comic Impact fans, I hope that you have a great month of comics for December, and fare thee well.